speak now to one resident of those towers in Melbourne. Ahmed Dini joins me now. Great to have you on the programme. Thank you for making time for us. Ahmed, how did you find out about the lockdown and were you ready for it?
Well, good evening and thank you for having me. We found out about the lockdown watching the news on Saturday, and none of us were ready for it. Obviously, we were placed in a hard lockdown, which is the highest level of lockdown that any city or part of the city has been placed under COVID law. So a lot of members of the community were quite shocked and devastated about the decision that was reached on Saturday. But it's been 5 days now, so we've been locked away for 5 days.
And how are you coping? Who do you live with? How are you all coping if you're with family?
So what happened today, obviously, we finalized the 5th day of the lockdown. I live with my cousin, but the 8 of the 9 tower blocks would be opened by 12 a.m. tonight. One of the tower blocks will remain on a 9-day lockdown, which my parents live in.
Okay. And tell us, they have found around 50 cases of COVID-19. Have you been tested? Because I know they've said they're going to be testing all 3,000 residents in the towers.
Yes, so our understanding is about 2,500 of the residents have been tested. I have been tested. I was tested yesterday, and my result returned today, so I'm negative. One tower block where my parents live has 53 cases, and they will be put into a further lockdown for 9 days because of the high number of community members who have tested positive for COVID.
And Ahmed, tell us about the challenges, the difficulties that some of the people are facing, having been in lockdown for 5 days in these towers.
Well, it's been really frustrating, and it's been difficult to a lot of members of the community. As I said earlier, we were never given the ample opportunity to go and shop out and get essentials. And when we actually were put on the lockdown, which was effective immediately, we had over 500 police officers come to these block towers and surround them, which obviously scared a lot of members of the community, because we were expecting health workers, we were expecting professional mental health workers and services to come in, but unfortunately we were basically blindsided by government by having 500 troops come to where we live.
And as you say, a lot of people and yourself were caught unaware. How have you been managing to eat? Earlier I spoke to a volunteer that's been delivering food to the tower blocks. Has that been getting to you, the food that's being donated?
Well, the first couple of days was a quite challenge. It took over 37 hours for myself and my cousin who lives with me to get any sort of food or any sort of essentials. But and the last couple of days there's been a trickle of food coming to us. But I think a lot of the frustration was because the government did not give us ample time to ensure that we get ready for this lockdown. But at the same time, a lot of members of the community saw this as a racist move by government by locking very vulnerable members of the community. Majority of the people who live in these tower blocks are from the African continent and the Asian continent. So a lot of us felt like that the government was using the police to ensure that these poor people were being subjected to some sort of a harsh lockdown that other members of the city weren't facing.
Ahmed Dini, thank you so much for sharing your personal story with us. Thank you.